In the last video, we've talked about how we can incorporate rhythm games in our exercise and how we can create a routine based on them, particularly the FIT principle. We've also talked about the different groups of rhythm game exercise based on movement input, which are full body movement, upper body movement, and lower body movement games. However, we did not talk about the advantages and disadvantages of having these rhythm games as part of our exercise routine. So, without further ado, good day everyone! I'm Abby, and these are the advantages and disadvantages of having rhythm games as part of your exercise routine. Movement is an integral part of any rhythm game, and being able to respond swiftly and accurately to the notes on the screen is a reflection of that aspect. This holds true for any difficulty, but the level of speed and accuracy significantly increases as they play higher charts. Thus, players are required to process and respond to notes faster than in lower level charts. This is where hand and body-eye coordination development comes. Through rhythm games, players attribute their body movement based on the notes and develop techniques through which they can efficiently perform these charts. This is especially true on gimmick or tech charts, where the notes follow an unusual pattern and require specific kinds of movements to perform accurately. These patterns often occur in higher level charts, so it requires a lot of practice to pass or even full combo those charts. Thus, you should start with easier difficulties first, which goes on to our next point. Whether you're a beginner, average, or skilled player, rhythm games offer various difficulties that players of different skills can try. If you'd like to start Dance Dance Revolution or Pump It Up as your form of exercise, there are lower level charts that you can play. If you're a highly skilled player, you can attempt to clear the harder songs, which in turn require more energy and movement. Like choosing the amount of weight you'd like to lift or the duration of your outdoor exercise, the player has the freedom to choose their rhythm game exercise to the best of their ability, enabling routine optimization and maximizing physical output. There's nothing more satisfying than when you achieve your personal record in a 400-meter dash or complete a 10-kilometer run for the first time. Likewise, the fulfillment you get from getting a full combo on an expert track in, let's say, DDR is, I think, not something that should be taken for granted. It is a result of the time that you have spent practicing and mastering the basics, taking note of certain techniques, and not giving up on the way. That's why I think that getting these achievements entices you to exercise and play the game more. For example, when playing maimai DX, there's a skill rating called DX rating, which increases as you get higher scores at more difficult charts. I remember starting out back in 2022 with a DX rating of only 1k or 2k. I knew that reaching a rating of 14 or 15k, like the other players I saw that time, would take a lot of dedication and practice. So I played and played more, reaching 5k, 7k, and then 10k for the first time last year. Now I'm above 13k, and as I grind to 14k, there will still be a lot of patterns to try, and charts to get a high score, and opportunities for my arms to get a workout. Arcades are great venues for social and community engagement, and that particularly holds true to rhythm games. You may have seen a video of two delivery drivers playing a bad apple chart on Pump It Up, or those freestyle dances on Don't Bother Me from a video more than 19 years ago. As they share a common interest, players of these games may create a community along their arcade branch, region, or country, where they can organize game sessions and host events. Not only will they be able to use these moments as opportunities for exercise, they will also be able to develop connections and friendships between other players with similar interests. Alright, we're done with the advantages. Just a quick note, if you're interested in more rhythm game essays and other content, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'll try my best to be more active here, and maybe we can reach our goal of 100 subscribers by the end of the year. Again, thank you so much, and let's move on to the disadvantages of rhythm games as an exercise routine. Easier difficulty charts provide a satisfying feeling for starters that are interested in having the game as an exercise. However, players may feel bored by playing them. There's not much challenge that will make them exert more effort. If you're aiming for an overload in game difficulty, that is, you're playing slightly harder charts for improvement, that's a great way for improving your skills. However, if it comes to a point where you're reading extremely difficult charts, such as stamina and tech charts, that's where I think you should set a ceiling for. Only players with sufficient skill and knowledge of movement mechanics are able to play them, so it's best to lower down the difficulty if that's the case. If you push too hard on the rhythm game you're playing, you might end up making improper movements that might lead to injury, and that's what we don't want. Instead of having rhythm game exercise for the better, it could end up worse if you don't know how to do what's in front of the screen. To be honest, I've been guilty of this a few times, especially when playing harder charts in Pump It Up. At first, I think that the chart is manageable for me, and then I get hit with note patterns that I haven't got used to, which is why I tend to make suboptimal and sometimes over-the-top movements. Arcade rhythm games require a lot of money if you want to use them for exercise. In my country, each credit usually costs around 40 pesos to 60 pesos. If you want to exercise your arms in maimai or tunitham, it's going to take around 45 pesos or 50 pesos respectively, with some arcades charging higher prices. A player looking to play 3 to 5 credits would cost up to around 200 to 300 pesos, which may be enough if he or she wants to play once a week. However, if you're thinking of doing a similar routine I mentioned, the cost would total up to 10,000 pesos for a year of continuous weekly rhythm gaming, which in the Philippines is already a hefty sum for such a niche set of arcade games. You could easily jog around a nearby park or do basic exercises in the comfort of your home for free. You could also use that amount of money to get a gym membership, which I'd say offers more opportunities to try out specific exercises. Doing morning laps around a mall and playing rhythm games in the afternoon, especially on the weekends, is also one possible option for that. But speaking of malls, there is another issue that limits one's opportunity to exercise in these games. Unlike in other countries like in the United States or in Japan, where many arcades have dedicated buildings to host various games, most, if not all of the arcades in the Philippines are located inside a mall. This means that the arcades here must adhere to the mall's operating hours. If a mall must operate from 9 AM to 9 PM at, let's say, Friday, then it must also follow those hours. Compared to arcades in other countries which operate at longer hours, this limits the amount of time one can use to play these games. Also, arcades tend to be busy on the weekends, and many people are also looking to use the same facilities as you. Unless you plan to shuffle up your arcade rhythm gaming spree, people might get pissed at you because you're doing a 5-credit marathon trying to get an all perfect on a certain song in that washing machine game. With all the ups and downs, considering the limitations included in these games should be a first step in creating your routine. If you want to practice your skills but are unable to try out the game for yourself at the moment, you may do what I like to call shadowing. In essence, this means attempting the chart while mimicking the movement needed to hit the notes. This works for roughly every heavily movement-focused rhythm game, which makes it a cost-free way to not only follow the chart but also give your muscles a workout, which is our initial goal for this routine. There are many videos about this which are free for you to use. Personally, I like to use difficult or expert DDR charts for my shadowing sessions. Sometimes, I use pump it up charts too. The point is, there are many resources that you can utilize at just your fingertips. It's up to you how you want to use them to your advantage. Now, if you want to simulate the real rhythm game experience without leaving your home and going to the arcade, you would need a platform or some kind of specialized equipment that can replicate the feel of playing that game in the arcade. Consider having Dance Dance Revolution as part of your rhythm game exercise. There are two options. One, you can have an improvised setup with a custom dance pad, or you can purchase an actual arcade rhythm game machine online. Depending on the materials needed and where they are shipped from, costs can easily rack up to hundreds or even thousands of dollars, especially if you're looking towards arcade-level performance in gaming. However, if you're eager to have your rhythm gaming exercise routine at the highest levels of movement and technique, then feel free to choose this option. Again, it is up to your discretion whether or not you're willing to choose this route. Honestly, if I were to have the money to purchase a custom DDR pad at home, I'd gladly do so. It's just that space is limited from where I live, so it's going to be a different conversation when it comes to placing and storing the whole thing. Now, if you're eager to play these games at the arcade, consider the amount of money that you intend to spend in your session. At the arcade I go to, each amount of money I load to my card has a specific amount of bonus added to my balance. If I were to load up 100 pesos, for example, I would get a 20 peso bonus load. If I load 200 pesos, then I get a 70 peso bonus load. Before going to the counter and handling in my card and some money, I usually think of how many credits I want to spend as well as the different rhythm games I'm going to have for my exercise. That way, I'm able to maximize every peso I have in my balance and not overspend. If a DDR credit costs 40 pesos for a premium play and I want to spend around 30 minutes for one session, then I would load 100 pesos and avail the 20 peso bonus load, which is enough for 3 runs. To get the most bang for your buck, I highly suggest choosing an arcade that offers the most amount of possible rewards for each spend you make. TimeZone, for instance, offers extra load for each specific purchase on their app. If you want to make a huge spend now and allocate some of that money for each session you have, that's up to you. You may even create a weekly or monthly budget for the games that you play, making sure that each load purchase satisfies the needs for your desired rhythm game exercise routine. Just be careful you don't spend too much that you'll end up going broke. It's no doubt that playing rhythm games is an innovative way to exercise, either at the arcade or at the comfort of your home. As I mentioned a while ago, there are many ups and downs when it comes to having one as part of your routine, but it's up to you if you're willing to dedicate your resources, time, money, and dedication. That's why you must consider your own limitations before committing to something like this. If you enjoy the energetic nature of arcade rhythm games, why not try it as your own form of exercise? If you don't want to spend money in arcades as much and would rather play in your own setup or with something as simple as a TV or a screen, then it's your call. Like physical exercise, setting up such a routine should not be forced. It must be something that adheres to your interests, abilities, limitations, and other aspects. This way, you will be able to have an effective, cost-efficient, and enjoyable rhythm game exercise experience. Anyways, that would be all. If you enjoyed, don't forget to click the like and subscribe for more videos in the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and this has been Mavi. Have a good day, everyone.